about the essentials of effective performance appraisal, let's move to our next topic. Because as we have come to know about uses, we have come to know about essentials of an effective performance appraisal system. Our next topic is process of performance appraisal. How? How an organization should do performance appraisal, what steps should it adopt, what should be the step by step or complete process of appraising the performance of employees. That all plays a very vital role. It plays a very important role, because if the process adopted for any of the work, suppose not only I am talking about performance appraisal, for any of the work, the process adopted is not systematic, it is not effective, then the results are also not effective. Yes, the results are also not effective, because there is some problem with the system, there is some problem with the process. Then if your process is not efficient and effective one, then how do you think or expect appropriate and exact results? So when we talk about process of performance appraisal, the following steps should be followed. Point 1 says establishing performance standards and goals. First of all, you should set some standards or goals for the performance of your employees, and that will work as your benchmarks or parameters. Because a quality benchmark or a quality parameter selected moves the organization also towards quality. If you are, suppose if you are a local brand and your parameters are benchmarks are of some national brand, then they will not be away, or it will be very soon that you will be coming near about it. You will be touching those performances, parameters and benchmarks. So the first step is to establish performance standards and goals, and that should be so much clear to you that you can easily measure your actual and standard performance. Because if those are not clear to you itself, then at the time of appraisal, the team or the officials who will be doing this appraisal job, they will be not able to compare both your actual and standard you have decided. Second point, communicating the standards. To whom? To whom we should communicate the standards? To our employees. Because if our employees are not knowing about our working standards, then how they will be performing according to that? Think, will they? If they are not very well aware, if they are not very well familiar with the standards of the organization, that what an organization wants, then how they will be able to perform according to those standards? Not at all. Not at all. They will be never able to perform according to the standards if the standards are not properly communicated to them. So the second step is communicating the standards. Now, point 3, measuring performance. Here we come up with performance appraisal process. Because in the first step, what we have done, we have established our performance standards, goals. In the second step, what we have done, we have communicate those standards and goals to our employees. And in the third step, what we'll be doing, we will be measuring those performance. We will be measuring the performance of the employee. Because until unless we will be measuring the performance of the employee, how we will be coming to know that whether we were right, whether we are going on a right direction or not. So this is what is measuring performance. Next step, comparing the actual with the standards. Now in the fourth step, what we'll be doing, we'll be comparing our actual performance with the standard performance to know the deviation, to know the gap. Because if you are not comparing your actual standards with the actual performance with the standard performance, then how you will be coming to know about that gap that is left between, and how that will be fulfilled in the coming years. So the fourth point is very important, comparing the actual performance with the standard performance. Point 5 says discussing the appraisal. Now the appraisal is being done, performance is being measured, actual performance is compared with standard performance. So now it's a time to discuss the appraisal, or we can say it's a time to give your reviews, views, it's a time to give your suggestions, recommendations about the organization, about the employees, about the HR force. And last point, taking corrective action if any deviation found. If we found any kind of deviation, then corrective measures or corrective actions should be taken to remove those. It should be done. Because if not done, then it can be a problem. We can face problem, and that small problem can become a problem, big problem in the coming future. In the coming future, that small problem can become a big problem for us. So this was process of performance appraisal. I am just going quickly on the points: establishing performance standards or goals, communicating the standards, measuring performance, comparing the actual performance with the standard performance, discussing the appraisal, taking corrective action. So moving to the next slide, which tells us about various methods of performance appraisal. How you can appraise the performance of your employees. Various techniques, we can also say various techniques of performance appraisal. It depends upon the organization which technique you want to adopt for the performance appraisal of your employees. Because the technique adopted or the method selected also plays a very important role. Because that method you are adopting or selecting should be such that it must suit your organization, it must suit your work, whatever you are doing, and it must be feasible. Because if you have opted for any such technique which is not feasible, then also it is a problem for you. Then also it can happen that you will be not having appropriate results, exact results. So coming to the methods of performance appraisal, there are several methods and techniques used for evaluating, assessing the employee's performance. These are classified as, basically the techniques are classified into two broad categories: traditional methods, which were used earlier, and modern methods. Now it depends upon your organization that whether you are having resources to adopt, to apply these techniques. and you should go for the selection of the technique or method as per your resources also. Because if you are lacking in resources, that should not be able to fulfill any particular method which is being opted or selected by you, then again it's a problem. So before selecting the method, think on the resources available to you. So here let's start. Traditional methods includes number 1, confidential report, number 2, free form or essay method, number 3, straight ranking, number 4, paired comparisons, number 5, forced distribution, number 6, traffic rating scale, number 7, checklist method, number 8, critical incidents, number 9, group appraisal, and number 10, field review. So these were the 10 techniques which are being categorized under traditional methods. We will be discussing all these techniques one by one in detail. B, modern techniques or methods. In this we have point 1, assessment center, point 2, human resource accounting, point 3, behaviorally anchored rating scale, BARS, point 4, appraisal through MBA, management by objective, and point 5, 360-degree appraisal. So basically there are 10 traditional methods and 5 modern methods. Now it depends upon organization that which method he selected for performance appraisal of his employees. But once again I'll say, repeat the same thing, please, before selecting the method, just have a quick look on what you want and nature of organization, nature of work, and the resources available. Because if everything matched, if everything get aligned, then only you should go for that with that particular method. Otherwise avoid and switch to any other method. Because if I talk about traditional method, then they are really very easy to understand, they are very easy to implement, and they are also very easy to provide reports and feedbacks. Modern methods are little bit technical, they require some modern knowledge, education, and they requires an updated evaluator. The person who is evaluating must be updated one, because if you are not having an updated evaluator, then it may happen